Thank you for joining me. The Introit for Sunday, February 7th is from Psalm 13. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me. Consider and answer me, O Lord my God. Light up my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death, lest my enemies say, I have prevailed over him, lest my foes rejoice because I am shaken. But I have trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. When something good happens to us, there can be an excitement that occurs. And that energy can cause us to react in praise. And we get the picture from the psalmist that the good thing that the Lord has done for him has made him want to sing. We are aware of the phrase, singing their praises. Singing is a reaction that can occur to make people know that we're happy about what has happened to us. Right at the beginning of this intro, we are encouraged to focus on God and the good that he does for us. And I think that even though we might be struggling, we know the good that God does. God gives to us many blessings, and to look beyond what he has done for us right now, we also know the salvation that he has given to us for eternity. And as we continue with this intro, the psalmist indicates that praise to God for what he has done for us can occur and continue no matter what happens. The psalmist asks the Lord to light up his eyes, and that could mean a few things. It could mean that there is some physical trouble with his eyes, and because of that, his enemies are able to do things that he cannot see. But it could also be figurative, meaning that something could be blinding the psalmist to the movement and schemes of his enemies. You know, sometimes when we're beaten down and battered, our focus can be challenged. Sometimes when all we seem to get is bad news, we can lose sight of anything else around us. And perhaps there is a sin that is blinding our eyes and allow us not to focus and see the destruction that operates freely. For the psalmist, who in this psalm is David, the concern is that whatever is acting as a blind spot for him is an opportunity for his enemies to take advantage. We get indication that he feels weak and vulnerable. And he knows that that vulnerability will cause his enemies to act. When we feel vulnerable, it can be easy to turn in on ourselves, to try to protect and find strength from our actions and our ability to defend. David is vulnerable, and he asks God to help him through this time, because if his enemies prevail against him, not only is that a problem for him, but a problem for the kingdom. We all have things we are worried about. We all have fear about the future. However, the enemies that we face are probably not a foreign force or an inside attempt to dethrone us. But we do have enemies who are waiting for the time when we are most vulnerable. We're told in the book of 1 Peter that Satan prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. You know, when we feel vulnerable, the worst thing we can do is isolate ourselves, because that isolation will make it easier for our enemies to overpower us. Instead, we, like David, turn to the one who has power and authority. We turn to God. And in a time of vulnerability, we are tempted to trust in ourselves and our abilities. But that does not provide the protection that we think it does. We think we need. Instead, the best thing to do is trust in God. David says, I have trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. Whatever happens to us or surrounds us, we, like David, know that the best thing we can do is put our hope and trust in God. He knows the troubles that we face. He walks with us as we face them, and He is the one who provides protection for us. And that protection is not just temporary, but eternal. Trust in God. Thank you for joining me.